The rent gets paid from my account every month, and she still tells me we're handling money together. Day to day, it looks like this. We both get paid around the same time. Within a few days, her account balance is close to zero. Mine isn't. I pay the rent, the electricity, the internet, most of the groceries. When something unexpected comes up, car insurance, a doctor visit, a fee we didn't plan for, it comes out of my card by default. She Venmos me for small things sometimes, like groceries if I ask directly, but the big bills just land on me. She doesn't talk about money unless I bring it up. When I do, the conversation doesn't go far. She'll say she's tired, or that it's not a good time, or that we'll sit down and look at everything this weekend. The weekend comes and goes. We don't sit down. Her phone rings late at night more than it used to. It's always family. She steps into the other room to take the calls. I can hear enough to know the words emergency come up a lot. Afterward, she'll be quiet, distracted. The next morning, her paycheck is mostly gone. She uses a banking app one don't recognize. I've seen the icon when she switches screens quickly. If I walk into the room while she's on her phone, she locks it without thinking. She never leaves it face up anymore. If I ask what she's doing, she says she's just checking messages or paying a bill. When I ask about money directly, her tone changes. She gets sharp, defensive. She'll say I'm interrogating her, or acting like her father, or trying to control her. Sometimes she brings up how much pressure she's under, how her family depends on her, how I wouldn't understand because my parents are fine financially. Every month, she tells me it's temporary, just until her brother gets back on his feet, just until her mom's hours pick up, just until some debt is handled. Every month, it resets. I keep telling myself I might be overreacting, that couples don't need to track every dollar, that love isn't transactional, that money stress is normal right now, with how expensive everything is. I tell myself I don't want to be the guy who counts pennies or questions family obligations. I don't want to sound selfish. I don't want to turn into someone who makes her feel guilty for helping the people who raised her. Sometimes I even think it's kind of admirable, that she's loyal, that she steps up. I tell myself this is what partnership looks like, covering more when the other person can't. I remind myself she didn't ask me directly to pay everything. I just did. We met in a normal way. A mutual friend invited us to a small get-together at a bar after work. We talked about our jobs, complained about rent prices, laughed about how everyone seemed exhausted all the time. There was nothing dramatic about it. She was easy to talk to. Practical. She seemed grounded. When we first started dating, things felt stable. She paid her share without discussion. We split dinners. We planned trips within our means. There wasn't a lot of stress around money. That made me feel calm. It felt adult. Predictable. I wasn't worried about being taken advantage of. I didn't feel like I needed to keep track. The first shift was small. She asked if I could cover rent 1 month because she had to help her family with something unexpected. She said she'd pay me back. I said yes without thinking much about it. It seemed reasonable. Stuff happens. Later, I asked when we could look at the budget together, just to get back on track. She said not now. She had a headache. We'd do it later. I dropped it. The next month, it happened again. Another family issue. Another promise that it wouldn't be like this going forward. I told myself not to make it a big deal. I didn't want to turn a temporary situation into a fight. Over time, it stopped being a one-off. The pattern set in quietly. In public, she talks about how supportive we are of each other, how we're a team. Friends comment on how solid we seem. In private, if I bring up money, the mood shifts. If I don't bring it up, things stay calm. She's affectionate, relaxed. If I stay quiet, there's peace. I started editing myself. I'd rehearse how to ask about finances in my head, then decide it wasn't worth it. I'd tell myself I could handle another month. I stopped suggesting joint budgeting apps. I stopped asking where her paycheck went. I started checking my own account more often instead, calculating what I could cover without dipping too far into savings. When people ask how we split expenses, I downplay it. I say it's uneven right now because of family stuff. I say it's complicated. I say we're figuring it out. I know it sounds small when I say it out loud. It's just money. Families need help. Relationships aren't always 50-50. At the same time, I notice the contradictions. She doesn't want to talk about money with me, but she sends it out instantly when her phone rings. She says she hates secrecy, but keeps her finances completely separate. She says she's stressed, but won't include me in the decisions that create the stress. I stay for concrete reasons. We live together. Breaking the lease would cost money I don't have saved. The utilities are in my name, and there's already a balance on some of them. I care about her. I don't want to walk away and look like the guy who abandoned someone over money. I don't want to confirm the version of me she implies when she says I'm being controlling. Leaving isn't as simple as packing a bag. I'd be paying rent somewhere else while still being tied to this place. I'd be taking on the full hit of deposits, moving costs, and leftover bills. I'd be starting over financially at a time when I'm already stretched thin. There's also the loss of the life we built, the routines, the shared space, the idea of us as a unit. Nothing dramatic happened to make me realize this was more than temporary. It was quiet. Another late-night call. Another morning where her account was empty. Another time I transferred money to cover a bill and told myself it was fine. I noticed I was keeping track of how much I'd paid versus how much she had, even though I pretended I wasn't. Right now, I'm still here. I haven't given ultimatums. I haven't made a plan. I'm aware of what's happening, but I'm still participating in it. I want fairness, but I keep paying to prove I'm supportive. I don't know if I'm being patient or just avoiding a harder truth. Where is the line between helping family and sacrificing a relationship?